Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on wherever you are watching us from. It's another edition of Politics on the Street. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos, share, comment for more political discourse. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos, share, comment for more political discourse. Here a video going viral. The governor of Ebonyi State, whereby some persons have called for Igbos to leave Lagos and started saying that Lagos does not belong to Igbos. The governor of Ebonyi State has come out to say that the government should should create a functional seaport in the east, and then there should be what a standard international airport, and see if the people people in if the Igbos in Lagos would not vacate Lagos and southwest and come to their base. How can we ask this?
Multi-dimensional problem, that was created immediately before and after the war is what we are still experiencing today. Let me give you a proper rundown on what Igbo was like, before independence and of course before the war. I'm talking about Igbo Benue, we're talking about Igbo Kogi and all the rest. And if you look at it, around 1959, there was a massive support for to open up the waters of the entire eastern region as at that time, with a functional plan of having one of the largest seaports and of course airports subsequently. But unfortunately, because of what we have on ground today and because of what we have been experiencing at Benicio right from 1953 to date, where there was amalgamation of the northern and the southern protectorate. The entire eastern part of the Nigeria was actually singled out, for different political reasons, all known to them. But as it stands now, in 1959, when that agenda failed, it became a struggling point, and of course, subsequently, we had Nigeria Biafra war, and the whole thing were actually sidelined intentionally. And if you look at it very well, and from the Benue, for instance, down to Delta, and of course, when we talk about Anambra State, to the Atlantic, we are talking about less than 18 nautical miles to the Atlantic. But from Lagos here, we are talking about over 30 to 20 nautical miles from Lagos. So what it means is that it is easier to import goods from different land to from Anambra, from China to Anambra State. Then it is when you talk about importing goods from Lagos, from China to Lagos. You can see the kind of wickedness that has been happening over the years. So what it means is from Anambra State to China, no, sorry, to the Atlantic, we are talking about 18 nautical miles. From Lagos to China, or to the Atlantic, we are talking about over 20 nautical miles. So how come that instead of bringing goods from the Biafran land down to any part of the country, they are talking about, Igbos themselves coming to Lagos, spending their resources in Lagos? I will give you an example. It takes 800,000 naira, for instance, to import goods from China via Anambra if there is actually a seaport there. 800,000 for instance, or thereabout for instance. Then it takes every Igbo man from Lagos, from here in Lagos, to import goods from China. I'm talking about 40 feet container to Lagos. It's about 2.something million. Then you will now begin to pay demo rate on it. You then begin to do other expenses. And for you to move a 40 feet container from Lagos to this entire southeast Nigeria, you are going to spend close to 1.5 million.
But why are government refuse to cite a functional support and then a standard international airport? I don't think that is the only thing holding some Igbos here in Lagos State. And then now those because You see businessmen that will people that will always travel all from the southern part of Nigeria to come to Lagos to play that. The fact should be that only Lagos State is hosting a functional seaport and then a standard international airport. Why?
That is the suppression, oppression, and the continuous marginalization we are talking about, and that is why the Benue Biafrans, the Kogi Biafrans, and the Biafrans entirely are asking that we leave this corrupt entity called Nigeria, and that is why there is a massive support, for Igbos, of course, majorly Igbo Biafrans, to pull out from anywhere they are in this part of the country and have their own nation on their own, and have their own freedom on their own, and be able to build their own destiny on their own without this kind of compromise happening over and over again. How can you just look at the gap? Look at the gap. Look at what Igbo enterprise is going through on daily basis, simply because he wants to bring goods down to Nigeria. And the only option, with other dimensional options that are available, the federal government and the government of the Muslims, talking about the North and the Yorubas, over the years that we ruling this country, did not do it. All they did was to make sure that one seaport on functions in Lagos. After they said it, that the so-called Apapa is congested, what did they do? They removed him. They didn't want to hear anything like that comes from him. But I'm telling you what Igbos are going through in terms of business, how they are milking Lagos State government are milking them, are drying them, are emptying their ports. Secondly, the federal government, because of perceived maybe domination or something. I don't know how to explain that, and nobody can come out and explain that. When there are opportunities, they deny them those opportunities. Now, for you to the cost of bringing goods from China to the entire Biafran land is the same cost of things moving a Pacific container from Lagos to Biafran land. You can see what is going on over the years. So the agitation, to open up seaport and of course airport in the entire Biafran land is a welcome development.
But do you think if there is a seaport in the east and then also a standard international airport in the east, do you think that you think Lagos most of the revenues would Lagos State to lose out in most of the revenues?
As a matter of fact, not only Lagos, Igbos are everywhere. We are talking about having a place where we can our business interests will be properly protected. I'm just giving you an instances now that Igbo man are targeted by government, as victims of circumstances. They dry their economy. They struggle their businesses with government policies and marginalization. We are from that axis to the Atlantic. Igbos, the entire Biafra land or territorial water is very close to the Atlantic. What are we doing in Lagos in the first place? Are we supposed to be in Lagos? It is a grand plan to destroy the Igbo quest, the Igbo influence, and the Igbo businesses within and outside Nigeria. Because the Igbos spend more because they know that these people are more enterprising or possible than any other tribe in this part of the world. And you can see what I have given you that will have Imo less than 18 nautical miles to the Atlantic. And we have Lagos over 20 or 30 nautical miles. Then look at the kind of struggle the Igbos go to bring in 40-feet container in Lagos, and how Lagos, tax machineries put their eye on there. They pay demurrage. The cost of transporting a 40-feet container from Apapa Wharf or thereabout to their warehouse. We are talking about almost ₦1 million. You're not talking about moving such 40-feet container from Lagos, maybe to the east, where it will be disposed. You can see the kind of massive taxation that they impose on it at the end of the day. So what is the Southeast governors doing? What is the Southeast businessmen doing? They need to liberate Igbos from the struggle of ethnic handling of their businesses. They need ethnic sentiment into it. So from number state to the Atlantic, 18 nautical miles. So it only costs about less than 1 million naira for an Igbo businessman to bring goods from China to the Biafra land. If you're talking about from Lagos here, it takes less than 3 million for a Igbo businessman in Lagos to bring goods from China to Lagos. And when the 45th container, they will line up demonic taxes, demurrage, cost of clearing, different types of things. At the end of the day, a container that's supposed to be cleared for maybe 100,000, we'll be talking about 3 million, 4 million. Then for you to transport it from the same container from Lagos, maybe to Biafra land, you are talking about millions. So you can see the kind of, if not that God is with these people, it wouldn't have been easy to this moment.
I think that policy are just intentional, and then it is man-made, and then it is also an act to frustrate this tribe.
It has a multi-dimensional understanding by the people, who ganged up against the Igbo interest during and after the war, and that is the way it looks like, and that is where it is. It is very quite intentional, because the kind of money they are, making as a result of this wickedness done to the Igbos alone. My brother, nobody can be able to pay that. An Hausa man cannot be able to stand that kind of taxation. And a Yoruba man cannot be able to stand that taxation. The government of the Southwest knows very well, especially the Lagos State government, knows actually what is happening in Apupa War. They know what Igbos are going through on daily basis to clear their goods there. And still, the federal government did not Dimitri to open, go to Imo State. About 20 million feet deep sea. And you tell me that big ship cannot come in? It's a total lie. We are watching. Everything is becoming very clear. And by the time we get to a particular point, things will be properly defined. That are using it now, because see, let me tell you, this is not a matter of maybe you are going to shut me down now. I need to make it very clearly to everybody. Yes.
Senators in the house, they have lawmakers that, why are the lawmakers not pushing for the seaports in the eastern region?
In 1959, when the agenda for that came up, who shut it down? Who shut it down? Why do you need that it was not? What is the reason why it was not registered to open those two powerful, most important seaports? Why? Then when they bring us everything, they sideline it, they gang up, and they shut it down, because it is coming from Ndigbo. The Igbo wanted it. So and you can see the kind of economy they are developing in Lagos. They talk it's economy. Anything that is bigger, we have seen nations, kingdoms, cities that are bigger than Lagos, and they went down.
Nobody's paying for that. So,
nobody is paying for that at the detriment of who? How much do you think? How much? It's a target. How much are you taking to rent a house now? If for you to get a room in Lagos State, you're talking about 500,000. And you think it's normal? Wow, who are the people renting those houses? No, I'm not telling you, for you to understand what is going on systematically. So it's a very clear thing.
it's a very interesting.
Thank you.
You know,